Good morning, PS 17, and happy Terrific Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, May 26, 2020. Eid Mubarak to our families who were in community and in celebration this weekend, and also happy Memorial Day, which was yesterday. If everybody could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. We're standing tall, we're facing our flag, hands are placed over our hearts. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our school mission statement. We are here to be literate, innovative, and proficient scholars who will participate in rich academic learning in a nurturing environment where we will rise. This will be accomplished by creating collaborative and supportive teaching and learning systems involving the entire PS 17 community. Okay, I found a really wonderful book, and it is a Caldecott Honor Award winner, which means that it is a very special book. And it's actually illustrated by Ogi Mora, who wrote Thank You Omu, who wrote and illustrated Thank You Omu. So you'll see that the illustrations are quite similar to when we read the book Thank You Omu, which was inspired by Ogi's grandmother, remember? And Omu means queen also. Remember, she cooked a big pot of stew and she kept feeding the community members. And that was that book was really a celebration of community and sharing. So she did not write this book. The writer is Rita Lorraine Hubbard. She illustrated the book. So I thought it was kind of cool to find a book that has been illustrated by somebody who we read about a month ago, a book that we read about a month ago. So this is based on a true story. It is about a woman named Mary Walker, and it is her journey about learning to read. She lived a very long life, and she, because of her circumstances, wasn't able to learn to read. But you know how old she was when she learned to read, which is quite phenomenal. She was 116 when she really learned to read proficiently. And it's really a story about perseverance and dedication and proving that you're never too old to learn something new. No matter how young or old you are, you're never too young or you're never too old to learn something new. And so this is her journey. So we're going to read part of it today and part of it tomorrow. There's also I'm going to take the cover of the book off. There's not really an author's note in this book. I looked, but there is some really fascinating pictures. Actually, there is an author's note. I'm sorry. We're going to read the author's note. So Mary Walker, whom this book is about, was born on May 6th, so her birthday just passed, 1848. From a young age, she was born into slavery, and from a young age, she was forced to pick cotton, clean houses, and work as a blacksmith, who was somebody that worked with tools and made things. Very little is known about her life from the day that she received freedom, which was not until she was 15, until she learned to read at 116. She learned to read from the Bible, which was very important to her. And this is a story, so it's a historical fiction story. So there's some parts that are made up, but a lot of it and most of it was the truth. She passed away in 1969, and she lived to be 121 years old. I'm going to say that again. She lived to be 121 years old. What a wonderful long life. And the day that she died, it says that she could still see and hear well. She could still hold a pencil and write her name, and she could walk with only just a little help from her trusty cane. She also still continued to sew and bake cakes. So this is her story. Are you ready to read it with us? And here's some pictures of Miss Walker. 121 years old. Okay, so we're going to read a little bit today. The title of the book is The Oldest Student: How Mary Walker Learned to Read. Whenever young Mary Walker was tired, she would shield her eyes from the sun and watch the swallow-tailed kites. Those are birds, right? They look like little kites in the sky. And would watch the swallow-tailed kites dip and soar above their trees. That must be what it's like to be free, she thought. But Mary was not able to watch for long. Even at only 8 years old, she knew the first rule of the Union Springs, Alabama plantation she lived on: keep working. She knew the second rule too: people who were slaves should not be taught to read or write or do anything that might help them learn to do so. So she was born at a time where if you had a certain color skin, you were told that you were not allowed to be educated and read and write. So that's probably going to affect how she views life and her perseverance and her dedication. Mary didn't stop working. She didn't learn to read either, but at the end of each long day, picking cotton, toting water to Papa, and the other people who were slaves who chopped wood for the train tracks, or helping Mama clean the big house, she would lie in her little bed next to the crumbling fireplace and think about those birds. When I am free, I'll go wherever I want and rest when I want, and I'll learn to read too. So we're going to think about the type of person Mary is. Remember, we've been doing this all along. We're developing some evidence about the type of person Mary is to make an inference about her character trait. When she was 15, it happened. Mary and her mother's brothers and sister were free. The Emancipation Proclamation said so. The Emancipation Proclamation was like a rule. It was a big piece of writing, and it said that it ended slavery. What it didn't say was how a family with nothing except the tattered garments on their backs could find food, clothes, and a place to sleep. Mary's father had died, and the family was on its own. Freedom Road to Freedom Road. Across fields and through woods, people who were former slaves surged like waves, crashing hard to shore. Now that they were free, every road was Freedom Road. Many headed north and west and every which way, searching for long-lost family members or simply experiencing the wonder of being free. Others, like Mary, chose to stay in the South. An organization called the Freedmen's Bureau helped those who stayed to find shelter on abandoned Confederate land. Mary and her family settled in a one-room cabin, and for the next few years, she worked alongside her mama to help feed her siblings. 7 days a week, she churned butter, cleaned houses, and cared for other folks' children. So it still seems that even though she gained freedom, life wasn't easy, right? So we're adding to our ideas about the type of person Mary is. Remember that. The hours were long, and if Mary was thirsty or hungry or needed to use the outhouse, which is like an outdoor bathroom, so if she was tired or hungry or thirsty and she needed to use the bathroom, she had to wait until she got home. At the week's end, she would offer Mama the one lonely quarter she had earned. So it seems like even though they gained freedom, there were still struggles there. One day, Mary met a group of evangelicalists. That's people who love their religion a lot, and they talk about their religion a lot. So she met a group of evangelicists on the road. A woman with soft wrinkles in her kindly face placed a big, beautiful Bible in Mary's hands and told her, "Your civil rights are in these pages." Mary didn't know what civil rights were. She only knew that top to bottom, front to back, that book was filled with words. "I'm going to read those words," she vowed, "but not today. Today there was work to be done." So a lot of different religions have a book that's very important to them. There's the Quran, there's the Bible, there's other religious texts also. And that's how a lot of people learn to read. And so that book became very important to her. So we're going to read a couple more pages. "And tomorrow too. When Mary got married, she and her husband worked as sharecroppers, renting someone else's house, using someone else's tools, and planting someone else's seed to farm land they would never own. After they harvested the crops, almost all the money they earned went to pay for the housing, the tools, and the seed costs. Mary was 20 years old when her first son was born. She opened her Bible and marveled at the squiggles inside. There had been no time to learn to read. A friend wrote Mary's son's birth date in the Bible, August 26, 1869. Mary dipped a pen into an inkwell and made her mark beside it. Not a letter, not a name, just a mark. It was the best she could do. Okay, so we've learned a little bit so far. She's 20 years old now, so we've taken a journey from when she was about 8 till she was about 20. And we've learned a lot so far. She seems like the type of person to me that keeps going and going, like she perseveres, right? And she's resilient, she keeps going because life hasn't been easy, right? She's had some struggles with life because of her circumstances. And so we're going to collect some more evidence as to the type of person we think Miss Walker is. Okay, I can't believe that we just learned that she passed away at 121 years old. That is a really long time. And so again, we want to keep that in our minds too. It takes a very special person to live that long, right? And to see so many things. So we're going to keep collecting evidence as to the type of person we think Mary Walker is. Okay, PS 17, I will see you tomorrow. We wish you a wonderful day and say it with me as always, we love you.